Welcome back to the final session on day one of the Para-Dressage here at the FEI World Equestrian Games in Tryon, Carolina. We're in the Tryon Stadium for the final grade gold medal winning session with this grade 5, just 8 riders in this grade 5 test. We've seen some thrilling competition already, 2 very worthy and excellent gold medal winners, one from the Netherlands, one from Denmark. What will happen in this grade 5 class with the 8 combinations coming forward? The way the classifications work, these are the most able-bodied para-dressage riders, and it is going to be headed by Sophie Wells on Fatal Attraction, in search of more gold medal success for Great Britain. Have had a disappointing today with Lee Pearson retiring earlier. Other riders to note: Frank Hosmar from the Netherlands, trying to give them the 2nd gold medal of the day. Maybe the Japanese rider could enter the consideration. Looks an intriguing competition that we will be enjoying over the next and a bit. And joining me, as she did earlier on this afternoon, for the grade 2 competition, Natasha Baker, part of the Great Britain team, and obviously she will be watching with a great deal of interest the first. Natasha, Sophie, you know well, been on many a team with her. Let's get right to the nitty-gritty. She is amongst the favourites here. She was part of the gold medal winning team last year in Gothenburg, yet you know, probably by her standards doesn't, I think, outshone by Julie Payne probably in the end last year, but today a golden opportunity to give Great Britain a 3rd gold medal of these games.
Yeah, I think she is definitely the one to watch in this class. She's looking incredible. The horse is on fire at the moment, and she's been unbeatable this year. Well,
you talk about on fire. Let's see what the temperatures are like. Are they fiery? They've been pretty pleasant today. 86. Well, that's certainly getting fiery enough. 30 degrees, I know, for Sophie. They've had a very hot summer, so 30 degrees will feel like nothing. But it's the humidity that is the factor here. Yeah. And that's a serious point for the horses. While you've had, for European horses have had a very hot summer, yep, across the board, the humidity's not the factor. Has that had an impact, and would that have an impact, just like it does on humans, on your equine on your horses?
Yeah, it definitely can do. Some horses do better in the heat than others, just the same as humans. Sophie is like me, we both love the heat. Lee and Erin aren't quite so keen as me and Sophie, but as soon as you put that competition jacket on, you're in the zone and you just want to get in there and do it. So that's the last thing she'll be thinking about right now.
And Fatal Attraction, nickname Fatal Attraction?
George.
George, why?
I have no idea.
Right. Fatal Attraction, I think was there a character called George in the movie Fatal Attraction? I don't know, but anyway. But Sophie Wells is vastly experienced. She's been on many gold medal winning teams. Yeah. She's been a cornerstone, hasn't she? Whereas last year she was the lead member, because it was very much an inexperienced team, and she was there to bring guidance, and she may be 28, but my goodness me, she's got some competitions, you know, from 2012 onwards.
Yeah, she was on the team actually in 2010 for the World Equestrian Games in Kentucky, and her first championship was the Europeans the year before that in 2009 in Norway. So she's been on a lot of championship teams, on lots of different horse combinations, and this was the horse that she's competed at last year in the Europeans in Sweden, and she also completed this horse in 2015 in France, because her top horse Valerius had a slight injury before we left, so she took George instead. But this is her first World Equestrian Games on this horse.
He's an 11-year-old, and as you say, but again, and in terms of the competition, what we see, this is, you know, they're able to do most things, and in terms of Sophie's disability, she's some hand issues and fused ankles, I think is what it is.
Yeah. So her disability is called amniotic band syndrome. So when she was in the womb, the umbilical cord got stuck around her, basically. So she was missing some fingers, and she also, as you said, has fused ankles. George is looking good.
I thought you were about to break into a song there, but actually, obviously here we're seeing very much that mirroring sort of able-bodied dressage in terms of the movements that it's a sort of, I suppose, a step down. Put it in terms of, because the riders at grade 5 often compete against able-bodies, and Sophie does.
So Sophie's competed up to Grand Prix. Really, really lovely half pass. You could really see on that short side, the horse was so swingy over its back. You can see the movement over his hindquarters, and that's really lovely to see. It's so consistent and so fluent.
Did open up with a 4.6 on the, I think the...
it couldn't have been a very square halt then.
No, so
it's difficult to see from the angle that we're at, but a lovely shoulder in down the centre line. That's a really hard movement to ride as well, because you can't hide away from the judges there. But
straight away the marks now are back up 7.8. We haven't seen anyone with a score in an 8 so far, but I wonder if we might.
I think we might.
No.
Good pirouette, keeping the activity. This horse's weakest point is its walk, but he certainly makes up for it in the trot and canter.
Well, there are 8 combinations here. All 8 will go through to the freestyle, so there's not a sort of mini competition within a mini competition here. But looking here and going so around about the low 70s, the sort of trend score at the moment, we're getting an indication.
Keeping the activity in the pirouette, and lovely transitions from the trot to the walk and the walk to the trot again.
Horse gleaming in the Carolina sunshine right now. Looking a lovely picture there.
Sophie achieved 76% earlier in this year in Deauville. So she's going to be looking to get in the mid-70s again out here. Really lovely expression in the medium trot across the diagonal, keeping the activity right the way through. And that's hard to achieve because it is a very, very long diagonal line.
Yep.
Lovely positioning in the half pass.
7.7 for those extended trots. So that shows you, again, it's all nicely high for her, but she's got to keep this up because it's 7.8 for the transition. So the scores are good, and she's averaging about 73, so it's getting higher and higher. Maybe this could be the best score of the day so far across all the classifications.
Lost a bit of balance in the 8-metre circle just on the second half. Yeah, creeping up in the scores now and into the free walk in a second. This is something that Sophie actually really struggles with because of her lack of fingers. She actually only rides with one finger in a loop in the rein. So nice stretch down. The horse is stretching down and forwards, which is really nice to see.
And as you were saying, George is going to be standing in the arena marking you tomorrow.
Yeah.
He's
going to be Diva's buddy. They're stable buddies as well. So
your comfort blanket.
Yes.
But
lovely transition into canter.
Will George be watching on having earned a gold medal? But at the moment, this is a pretty decent score.
Lovely positioning in the half pass. The fluency of this horse is just lovely to watch. It looks so easy. Good transitions in the simple change. Little pat there from Sophie. Tell him he's a good boy. Is she going to go for it? She certainly is. Lovely steps in the medium canter down that long side.
An 8 for the simple change of leg. It's the number 21. So that's the first 8 of the day, I reckon.
Really?
Yes. Unless I've missed a beat somewhere along the line and it didn't come up on the score in front of me, but whatever. An extended canter, she's gone into 8. This is getting very tidy. Natasha's gone quiet. Probably tells me she's riding every single step here.
Yeah, looking really, really good at the moment. 74.3%. After the half pass to the right.
I don't think you'll be as bad as Gemma Tattersall was watching Ros Cantor win gold yesterday. But coming down the centre line, and
this is a horrible movement. They've got to come down the centre line, do a halt, rein back, a little bit losing the quarters there. Not quite straight. But certainly straightened up in that trot.
And it's a difficult way to finish because normally you like to just sort of freewheel to the halt, but when suddenly you've got to do 2 halts. But it is a very good start. She got 7.2 for that halt and rein back towards the end of that test. but it looks as if it's going to be near 75%. It could be the best test of the day in terms of score. Obviously, each grade, it's a different test and different demands, but all the same, the judges are impressed with the grade level that could be the best of the day, and that's all you can ask for, that if you're trying to win another gold, that you've got to kick off. And anywhere serious you think she may have lost the odd one or two? Maybe right at the beginning she had a low mark, but overall,
yeah, I think that whole rein back would have definitely dropped her marks a little bit. But overall, it looked really fluent. It looked equal on both reins, which is also very important. But she just makes everything look so easy. And you know, he's so relaxed. He's so chilled out. He looked as if he was really enjoying being out there and being centre of attention. And Sophie just always puts on a good performance.
Well, probably looks as if it will be a medal-winning performance.
I think it could be.
But it's now the colour of that medal. Little wave as she comes out of the arena to the support team that are around. But the score is coming through. It's 75.429. Here is confirmation of that score on your screens now. 75.429. B. The judge at B was Mark Urban. He was very impressed, giving her 76.310, but pretty consistent, 75.429. Is that going to be enough? Do you think Frank is obviously the big rival? You've got that wide-eyed look of excitement about you, Natasha.
Well, I think that was a pretty good test. So I think Sophie will be absolutely over the moon with that. And she'll be feeling pretty confident to watch on over the other riders to see what they achieve.
Well done to Sophie Wells with that opening score. There's looking at the judges.
That's Hanneke from Holland.
And she is Hannah. She's in E. Thank you. Just looking down my list. Now, from Germany, Regine Mispelkamp, and coming in. The Look at Me Now, the 13-year-old, is the horse, and a gelding, and a big chance for her. Obviously, from a German perspective, again, they've had a very successful start with those dressage gold medals. Isabel Wirth in sparkling form. Of course, they missed out on the freestyle due to the efforts of Florence to try and mess with the schedule, but they couldn't then stage the freestyle. Hugely disappointing, but came to the conclusion that he just wasn't, and the horses flying back, all quite logistically. This is never an easy one. Talking about that, when did your horse fly out?
Our horses flew out last Sunday, and then they were in quarantine for 42 hours, and then we got on them on Wednesday last week. So we've had a few days training.
But again, last week. So it just shows you there's a logistical effort of monumental proportions.
Yeah.
So there's not much room for flexibility, but they did with the eventing. I know the event riders returned last night, and many of the horses are flying out today back home to their respective homes. But look at me now, and we will do exactly that as Regine begins her test and knows that she's got a strong score to beat.
Yeah, definitely. I think this is a new combination for Germany. I haven't seen this rider at a championships before, but a really smart horse, very uphill and very expressive. Showing some nice steps in the medium trot, keeping the fluency right the way through the diagonal. Getting ready for the half pass. Some good positioning.
Well, they were competing at Mannheim earlier this year. Scored in an individual grade 5 72.
Very respectable, yeah. Nicely showing 3 tracks. Just lost it a little bit more towards the end of that centre line. And we've got the walk pirouettes coming up next. It's a nice symmetrical test, actually. It's nice and easy to follow. Or quite an abrupt transition into the walk, but losing a bit of activity in the pirouette as well. I think I would have just made that transition a couple of steps earlier to prepare for the pirouette a little bit better. Again, just not quite as fluent as Sophie and George, but, you know, their first championships, they're doing a really, really good job. They're sitting at 70.2%.
So it's good. It's...
Oh, I think the horse has got a fly.
We're just something irritated.
Yeah. How old is this horse, Rupert?
13 years of age.
13. So he's pretty established. I'm not going to ask you how old the rider is, because you'll probably say 100 and something.
Born on the 9th of December, 1970.
All the best people are born in December.
Right. Clearly.
Not that I'm biased.
Clearly you weren't.
Thanks.
Well, you were setting yourself up for that anyway.
I was.
Let's get back to Regine. It's all good, isn't it? It's tidy,
yeah.
And it's but suddenly the bar has been set high straight from the start here, and that's where we've got to see if we're going to see something that's going to.
She had her quarters trailing at the start of the half pass, and then just wasn't really balanced around that 8-metre circle in the trot.
Tail swishing. Some judges don't like
There's
that.
quite a lot of flies out there. If it's aggressive tail swishing, then that means that something's wrong. This is just kind of swaying it, so that, you know, that's fine.
And as you say, it's a muggy afternoon now.
It is a muggy afternoon. There's a lot of flies, a lot of midges out there. So, yeah, I can't blame the horse for trying to get them off of them.
But there's nothing aggressive about that. It's just gently flicking.
Yes, a gentle flick is fine. A nice stretch there in the free walk. Clearly showing an overtrack. Good preparation for the canter transition.
There's some good scores coming in. The extended walk picked up 7.8.
Still sitting on 70.9%. Good half pass that way. See how the simple changes are. A little bit wobbly in that walk.
You could see the way the foot was sort of, it was
crossing over.
Not slightly drunken look about it.
I don't think the horse was drunk.
No, I know, but you know what I mean. If suddenly your foot's surprised, you know. Well,
that's how I walk normally.
She's got a problem. Mine's self-induced.
But no, she would have lost a few marks for that simple change. It's a pity because the transitions themselves were actually really good. Again, just losing the quarters a little bit that way in the half pass. I don't know what her disability is, but maybe it could be something with her left leg. Slightly straighter that time. She didn't walk for quite so long, but she did go off of the centre line on the transitions. So not quite as clean as Sophie.
Does it feel a bit sort of harried? You know, not quite smooth?
I don't think it's hurried. I just don't think it's as fluent and as smooth as Sophie's test. But, you know, she's done a really, really good job, and she's sitting on 71%.
Let's see how she copes with this Halton.
She's a little bit wide behind in the Halton. She's not too bad. One step losing the quarters, but nice and straight on the centre line to finish. A much straighter halt that time.
Well, there we have it, our second rider, Regine Mispelkamp, the German rider with Look at Me Now, and it's not going to beat Sophie Wells' score, but what it is going to do is put her in the hunt for a first German para-dressage medal. They've already scooped 2 golds so far, team and individual, and with a terrific performance in the dressage, really dominating that, and they'll be looking to add to that tally. Great Britain obviously already with 4 medals across the board, with 2 golds and 2 bronzes from the dressage, with Charlotte Desjardins back, and obviously with a Mount St. John horse, and she's back. And you're going to be riding a Mount St. John horse as well.
I am.
Tomorrow.
We're the lucky girls.
And the owners have stayed on to see you, haven't they?
Yeah, they have. I'm really lucky that they're staying on until tomorrow to watch my individual test, and then they're rushing off home tomorrow. Tomorrow night to. They've got 9 horses or 7 horses at the national championships at home. So
where are the GB national championships?
They are in Stoneleigh,
which is the in Warwickshire.
Oh, here we go.
So it's 71.50 is the score there for Regine. I think she'll be pretty pleased with that.
Who's at M?
M is, well, that's Suzanne Cunningham from Australia.
She liked it.
Yep, 73.929, but 71.50 is the score.
That's a pretty impressive score for your first championships, isn't it?
Well, yes.
And there's lots more to improve on there, so I think she'll be feeling really confident going into the next few days.
Maybe we'll be looking at me now more.
Yes.
I got there in the end. I was trying to be really. I was trying to come up with a really.
You were trying to style it out, weren't you, Rupert?
I was trying to come up with a really sensible, sort of nail-biting sort of play on words, but actually managed to mess it up. Anyway, we digress on what has been a. I'll tell you what, that Grade 4 competition. But if you're going to have, and you compete with less than 1% separating the top 3. Just put that into context. What would that mean in terms of the sort of level of error and difference between them? I mean, it's nothing really, is it?
No, it is nothing. And, you know, we saw earlier Stinner obviously going wrong in her test. I mean, that could be the difference between a medal and no medal at all. And luckily it wasn't so close in her grade. But, you know, if one of those grade 4s, had have gone wrong, then, you know, that could be a huge, huge upset in the medal tally.
Well, it's now the 42-year-old French rider Estelle Guillet coming in with Magic de Meilleret is the horse that she is riding, this 9-year-old. So another young, inexperienced horse, but will the experienced French rider get the best out of this horse? Can she find a way of... Well, again, it's all about building up for the week. There's the team element, there's getting used to the arena, and probably in many ways, as you say, you've been here since... When did you get here?
I got here Sunday. Not this Sunday, just gone the Sunday
So you've had
before.
sort of 10 days of, it's not hanging around, it's not, but it's sort of pent-up frustration knowing that you want to get, you know.
You just want to get going.
Yeah, that's it, isn't it? You want to get going.
Yeah.
And you've just been, you know, to use a horsey phrase, you're chomping at the bit.
We were definitely chomping at the bit.
And you want to, and it's a long week, because normally you might have a few other horses to ride, but you've only got one. And so it's managing the big time, and that of how you manage your time
and how you manage the horse as well, because obviously at home most horses go out in the field and graze, and they might go out hacking, so it's completely changing their routine coming away to a championships like this. Believe it or not, even though we're surrounded by grass and basically forest, there's no hang grazing here at all, so there's no real downtime apart from the time that they have in the stables.
Well, seeing Estelle start her test, coming around in the high 6s, so it's not quite got the, I would say, is expression the right word? Or?
Yeah, it's not as uphill, it's not as expressive as the last 2 horses, but she's doing a really nice, clean and tidy job of it. You can really see in these medium trots the lack of expression compared to the last 2 horses. But, you know, as long as you're accurate, that's where you can really pick up the scores. That pirouette was a little on the large side. You want a pirouette to be stepping around itself on the hindquarters, and that was more like a small circle with the quarters in rather than a pirouette.
Well, in an individual 5-star at Bishop's Burton.
Yeah.
In
the UK, yeah.
Where is Bishop's Burton?
Oh, goodness, Yorkshire, I think. Somewhere up north. My geography's terrible, Rupert.
Okay, well, she got 64% there.
Slightly better pirouette that way. She kept it moving that time. I think that was more of the problem in the first one. Although it was big, it didn't keep moving. She kept a bit more activity, that one.
Just had quite a busy...
She's sitting on 63% at the moment, so that sounds...
So it sounds like about
what she's been getting.
Anyway, you probably want to just try and come up with a PB for the year. What was
it? Little trip there as she got back to the track after the medium. The horse is actually getting better now. It's got more cadence in the trot. Quarters trailing a little bit. That's better there towards the end.
Cadence in the trot.
Bounce.
Thank you.
Oh, and again, just losing the quarters as she comes onto the centre line to do her shoulder in, and not keeping the positioning of that shoulder in right up until the transition either. She just went straight and just went straight a little bit too early. Into the walk and showing a nice stretch down. I like the nose to go a little bit more out. You want the horse to stretch down and out, not just down and tucking behind the bit, but a nice clear over track in the steps. Getting ready for her canter transition from the walk.
Didn't explode, did it?
No, you don't want it to.
What do you want it to?
You want it to push from behind and be an expressive transition.
Okay.
Nice half pass. Like to see a little bit more bend for the higher marks. Just losing the quarters on the centre line, but a nice clear transition. Could have shown one more step in the walk, but good transitions from the canter to the walk and back up again. Just lost a bit of straightness on the centre line. Is she going to go? No, she hasn't really gone for that medium canter. The quarters are coming in slightly, and there wasn't really any massive clear difference in the working canter to the medium canter.
Well, everything is around about the 6.6s and 6.4, 6.5. So
better half pass this way. Sorry to interrupt you.
No.
But no, she kept the quarters more in that half pass, and she's straighter on the centre line. The thing is, every movement follows on from another, and you have to set up the movement 100% correctly because otherwise it will affect the next one. And that was a clear, evidential thing. You know, she had the half pass better, so therefore she got a better simple change. But she still didn't go for that medium canter. I'm a bit disappointed about that. I think she could have picked up a few more marks.
When you say that, is it a bit like being committed to the movement? You don't hold back. Whatever you do, you just
go for it.
And that's
again losing some straightness in the rein back there. She didn't, again, clear. She didn't have a straight halt. She's not going to get a straight rein back from a halt that's not straight. And again, not quite straight in that last halt either. But it looked pretty square, and she looks very, very happy with her test.
Well, I think she should be pleased. She's round about the scores that she would be expecting to get. It's a big occasion, and she has dealt with it, and obviously some tough acts to follow. The first two were some
very
pretty
strong.
Good, very strong tests. And
I think this is her first championships as well.
So therefore, getting used to it, but still to build on that, the confidence will come from that. And remember, this horse is only a 9-year-old. So
plenty of time then.
So that's
only be 11 in Tokyo.
Yeah, and so you would expect the scores to improve, and I think that's why Estelle is happy with her afternoon's work here for France. And Magic de Meilleret. Apologies if that pronunciation is a mess, but I'm taking a chance. But
I don't think mine would have been much better. So,
well, now there she is leaving the arena. Remember the score: Sophie Wells 75.42. Now we know that's not going to it's not going to move into second, taking over from Regine Mispelkamp from Germany, but it will be a score probably in the mid-60s, and it is in the mid-60s, just under 65%. 64.738 is the score, and looking at the judges and the way they've scored it, can confirm. And you look there, it comes out at 64.738. C probably less impressed, and C was the American judge, Christy Vasocki. But now, Natasha, you were talking up the prospects of Tomoko Nakamura from Japan on Jazz, this 10-year-old gelding, and Japan clearly have been working hard to find not only able-bodied riders that can compete across all disciplines for their home Olympics, but clearly they've got a team here. They are putting themselves firmly in the Tokyo Para-Dressage picture.
Definitely. This rider did really, really well out in Belgium earlier this year. I'm pretty sure off the top of my head that she won all 3 days of competition out there against the Belgian rider as well, which was quite interesting. So yeah, it's going to be really interesting. I didn't actually see her ride live, so I'm really excited to see her today. But, you know, the riders are really going to be looking forward to Tokyo in 2 years' time. So this is going to be something that they're going to be building over the next couple of years. But to start here, you know, we'll see what happens.
Well, she's 56, and so big moment and big opportunity, because as we've been saying, it's so impressed with event riders earlier in the week here, getting a 4th spot as a team. So they'll be looking for a good team performance. May not have the star individual performances, but they'll be looking to build up. They've got young horses, some younger riders, and tell you what, the horse is a lovely looking horse.
Sparkling in the sunshine.
Indeed. There speaks Miss Bling.
This canter is really off the floor. It's got a lot of expression. It's very uphill.
That's good, basically.
Yes, that's good. Nice square halt.
One
Lovely,
of the
lovely and straight. That should be a really good first score for Tomoko. I'll see if I can see it for you. A little bit of tension in the corner before the medium trot. 6.9, or maybe it wasn't square. It was very, very straight though.
Well, straight and square, what's the difference? What would you be looking for if it's straight and square, not square?
So you want one leg in each corner. So literally it is in, obviously it's not square because a horse can't be square, but it's rectangular. Really expressive trot here. And very accurate. She's not throwing away one single mark. Let's see how the pirouettes look. Very smart looking combination. Sitting at 69.8% at the moment. Keeping the activity in the pirouette. Oh no, just cantered. I think he must have read her a little bit wrong, and just a couple of steps of canter. That's a real pity. She's really got him revved up though. She's certainly going for it.
70.69 she scored when winning the 3-star event at Waregem in the individual.
Yep.
Scored 74 in the freestyle at the same venue.
First step was a little large in the pirouette, but a better move off after.
Some low scores just coming in there.
Yeah.
That put her down.
That will be the couple of canter down to 65.4. That's a real shame. I'd like to just see the horse bend through its body a little bit more in the corners. It just looks very straight.
When you bend through, what sort of, when it goes, what do you mean?
The horses can bend through their rib cage, and the horse just looks very straight and rigid through the corner. And you know, it can bend because it's doing these half passes nicely. So that's, you can see the bend nicely there. But I just like to see, I just like to see more suppleness. Again, she didn't quite finish that half pass off. I'd like to see one step of straight before she then starts the 8-metre circle. But lovely positioning in the shoulder in down the centre line.
Scores have improved a bit.
Yeah.
And as a result, so's the overall percentage mark.
Yeah, sitting 66.5 at the moment. Again, it's just those little things like finishing movements off that, you know, you can't throw marks away at this level, and that was a pity that she just did that. But that's something that she can work on. Test riding is so important, and you don't want to lose silly marks for accuracy. Nice stretch in the free walk, the horse really taking the contact, and a nice stretch down and forwards.
Plenty of good marks there coming in, but nothing that's going to take her into, well, the 70% at the moment overall.
Just losing the quarters in that corner, but she's maintained it. She's got them back again. And let's see about this. Just fell onto the shoulder a little bit in that last step into walk. But a nice transition back up again, and showing a clear walk. That's also really important in between the canter transitions. Again, not really going for that medium canter. There was a difference, but not enough. Not enough for the 8s and 9s. Much better corner into that half pass. Straight and then transition. Again, the horse just stopped up a little bit and then swung its quarters in the transition back up into canter. Is she going to go for it a bit more now? A little bit. There's more in that tank.
Was that a rider confidence thing, saying, or well?
Yeah, and she might just be conserving it for the next few days. Who knows?
Well, coming to the end. First of the halts down the centre line at the end.
Very straight again. Can she keep the straightness? Yeah, that was pretty straight, actually. I think that's the straightest one we've seen.
I think I might agree with you there. And now finishing.
Lovely finish.
Oh,
I think
nice.
she's hot.
but it is. It's very muggy at the moment. And it's hard work, and you know it's intense. So you're at maximum concentration. You're trying to block everything out. You've got there's your riding gear on. It's hot work, isn't it?
It is hot work, especially with the riding jacket on and black leather boots and breeches and shirts and cravats and all sorts.
Well, but looks as if it's quite hard work. But overall, I think she's going to be relatively pleased, but it's not going to trouble the. Don't think we're not going to be in the 70s, but whatever. Again, it's a competitive sort of score that can only get better, and if you're looking 2 years down the line, which is what they are, it's about
all to play for.
All to play for, and that is reflecting the broadening of the para-dressage horizon of countries that have embraced it and taken on the challenge of giving riders opportunities at the highest level, and Japan doing exactly that. And so we await her score, but now Natasha is going to be in trying to describe the test of Frank Hosmar in as objective and unbiased, and not going to turn into a mini Gemma Tattersall and wishing, well, no, I'm doing her a disservice, but you're going to be watching very closely, because it's going to be close between these two, isn't it, Sophie and Frank?
Yeah, I mean, this year Frank has actually concentrated a lot more on his able body competition. So, here we go. We've got the score of
68.786 is the score, and for Tomoko Nakamura, and in keeping with what she was producing out there, and I think she'll be pleased. Knows there is room for improvement, but not too bad. You highlighted her as one to keep an eye on, and not too disappointing, but obviously medal is probably not coming her way, but it could be coming the way of this man entering the arena, and that is Frank Hosmar, the vastly experienced Dutch rider, looking to add to their medal tally, which stands at 2 today so far, and they'll be very pleased with that. And 1 gold, and can they add to it again here? So I think he will know. Is this horse, though, Alphaville, capable of matching Sophie's, if not bettering her score of 75.429?
As it goes this year, Sophie has been beating his scores, so we shall see.
You are not getting ahead of yourself by that very tentative reply. Because what it matters, it's fine and dandy in the build-up.
Absolutely.
This is the day that
it
matters.
matters, exactly. And anything can happen with horses.
As we saw with Lee Pearson earlier today, and they're not machines.
They're certainly not.
They're unpredictable, and one day you can be absolutely on fire. But Frank knows the time of day.
He does. And he wants that gold medal. He's going to be riding the socks off of this horse.
Right, well, let's see. This is the challenger to Sophie Wells. With all possibly due respect to the others to come in, this is the decisive test.
Yeah, a little bit too much bend into the halt, which affected the quarter positioning, but a nice straight exit. The horse is looking good today.
Yeah.
He can show some tension sometimes, but it's looking pretty nice. Good steps in the medium.
So the scores are a good start. He got off to a much better start than Sophie, who was, well, I think 4.6 for her halt, but obviously went from strength to strength in her test. And so...
Lovely positioning in the half pass. Really, really good there.
So he's already sitting quite nicely.
Just dropping in the pole on the 8-metre circle, but bringing it back for the shoulder in. Lovely positioning. Really accurate riding from Frank.
Because Sophie had to sort of play catch up, and at the moment at a similar stage he is in front, and he's looking around about 73.571 as his score.
Just lost a tiny bit of activity and a bit of balance on that last step in the pirouette.
What sort of just not uneven, was it all?
Yeah, you want every step behind to just pick up and put down and turn, and it just wasn't quite as fluent as it could have been. It started off quite big and ended up a bit too small.
7 for that half pirouette left, and now what's going on?
That's better.
Yeah. Back again on that diagonal.
It's lost a little bit of straightness on the way out, but regained it very quickly. It's going to be close.
This is going to be very close. Sort of matching scores now. Sophie's was always probably getting a little bit better marks from here on in.
Yes, she was.
But it's a question of whether Frank can also produce. This is going to be very close. Nip and tuck at the moment. Frank Hosmar, Sophie Wells probably watching on.
Lovely positioning in the half pass. Let's see if this 8-metre can be... Lost the rhythm a little bit in the first couple of steps and again at the end, but good into the shoulder in.
Remember, Sophie had some 8s. At the moment we're seeing some high 7s, the odds sort of low 7, and that.
He's dropped down into rank 2 now, so Sophie's in the lead.
What we saw with Sophie's went on an upward curve. This is, I mean, it's just been a solid flat. You know, I mean, it's not being it's not a flat test. It's just flat. He's not done anything.
Consistent scores.
Correct.
Yeah.
Got there in the end, Natasha.
Yeah.
But it's what it is very good scoring.
Consistently.
And that's why Sophie will be watching on very anxiously, maybe ringside or watching the big screen. How's your ticker feel, friend?
Okay.
Okay.
It's okay.
Your gut feeling, objectively, is Sophie's the one at the moment with the advantage?
Slightly, yeah. Again, a little bit too much bend. Not a crisp transition down, but a lovely one up.
Now coming.
He's going to go for this.
And he is.
There we go. Now that's a medium canter. Seems to be looking at something at the end there. Just see, it's just kind of tilting its head. It was like it was almost spooking.
7.6 and then...
Lovely half pass.
That is nice.
Right.
This is close.
Better transition down that time. I'm not sure if I would have shown maybe one more step of walk there. And a medium canter.
He's still just about 7.3, 7.4. He's not being able to produce the the magic movement. Sophie just in front, you would think, on the way the running tally is. Coming down now to the final stages.
Just losing a little bit of straightness into the hold, but keeping it nice and straight actually through the rein back and nicely back into trot down the centre line.
And Frank Hosmar has completed an excellent test, but is it a gold medal winning test? It's very close between him and Sophie Wells. A very consistent and smooth performance, but did he produce a bit of magic that might prevent Sophie Wells from winning gold medal? 75.429 is the score to beat here. As he comes out of the arena, it was good, but just how good? Well, he'll be twitching as he exits the arena, looking up at the giant scoreboard in anticipation, as will be the spectators here, the big support team from Holland clapping him out of the arena. And Sophie and her fellow British riders, including one up here, are now going silent. Sophie, do you think it's Britain's third gold? I mean, with all due respect to the ones to come,
yeah,
they don't on paper look as if they're going to win, and sport is unpredictable, but
I don't want to speak too soon.
Okay, Natasha's going silent for the next 30 seconds or so, dear viewers, as we wait to find out what's happened. We might hear a whoop and a holler in a moment, but it's been a successful start to the World Equestrian Games for Great Britain, but there's always pressure on their para-dressage team to deliver, as they have on countless occasions. And after the disappointment of Lee Pearson, they obviously are looking for a boost. But is Frank Hosmar going to spoil the party and give what could be a second gold medal to the Netherlands in the para-dressage on day one of the competition? The scorers taking their time to add to the tension. They've definitely been to the X Factor school of delivery of the results.
I think it's going to be 1% behind. I think it's going to be 74.23.
Okay.
Something like that. That's my guess.
Well, the next rider from the Virgin Islands, the US Virgin Islands, is coming in, the 64-year-old Lee Frawley, as we await the score. And
I think they're going to leave us hanging.
Oh, no, they're not, are they?
I think they are.
Well, that is mean. But there we go. It's not coming through at the moment. Is there a query? Is there something that has meant that there's a glitch in the scoring system? Just to find out. But just to add to the tension, Lee Frawley.
Thanks, guys.
Poor old Natasha. But
poor old Sophie.
Poor old Sophie. Poor old Frank, actually. It feels
poor old Frank, yeah.
I mean, it's not just about him, but meanwhile, while that's all going on, we're moving on to the next rider, because it's Lee Frawley, the 64-year-old, as I say, from the US Virgin Islands, with Pantaleone coming in. And he's not won it because the score has just come through. It is 73.310, and that means that Frank has gone into second. Let's look at the score, 73.1. M was impressed and gave him a score. No, the Australian, 75. But Sophie Wells is sitting and looks as if she may have got a gold medal, another gold medal to add to her tally. And what a moment for her if that is the case with Fatal Attraction. But Frank Hosmar just came up short, just couldn't find the magic ingredient. But what about Lee Frawley? Can she just produce a test that will impress? And you never know. So the story of medals at the moment is Britain, the Netherlands and Germany. That's the 1, 2, 3, 75.429, which is, though, the best score of the day.
It is, absolutely. I think it might stay that way. Who have we got after Lee?
After Lee, we then have Ahmed Sharbatly. Good rider, but he's not going to he's not going to win.
Cisco could upset Regine, I think.
Right. So the Belgian
that could be an interesting watch.
Cisco Vermeulen. So there's still all to play for with medals at stake. And remember, Belgium just lost out on an individual medal earlier.
Yes, they did in the grade 4s. She did really well. This horse just lacking a little bit of balance. You can see a few rhythmical errors.
Do you still expect to be competing for Britain when you're 64? When I'm 60? When you're 64? I'm nearer there than you are, but do you expect? I mean, this is a fair...
Oh, I have no idea. I'm 28, Rupert. I don't know.
Would you like to be?
I don't know.
But that's what I'm putting. It shows you.
Oh,
you know.
God, yeah, 100%. No, and you know what? Lee is such a lovely lady. She's actually stabled next to me at the moment, and her horse is such a cutie. It just craves attention the whole time and gets really jealous when I'm feeding Diva carrots. But Lee is such a lovely, lovely lady. She's been in this game for a very long time, and she just absolutely loves the sport, and it's so nice to see. And obviously she's at quite a lot of the championships, and she's actually based in the UK as well, so we regularly see her out and about at home. Well,
the scores are around about suggesting she's going to be in the low 60%, but
showing a bit of resistance in the pirouette there. Better rhythm in the trot now, just not forward enough and not quite as consistent in the contact as you would like to see. There we go. We've got a few steps. Again, just some irregularities.
Oops. Oh. A big one there.
A big irregularity there. I don't know if that was a spook or a trip or a bit of both. Maybe it spooked at its trip.
Well, from our position, there's a lot of activity sort of in that sort of top, from our view, which is the view away from us, top left-hand corner.
Yeah. I think that's the shady section of the arena, so everybody likes to sit there. Again, just losing the rhythm. It just needs to be a little bit more connected from the hind leg and pushing forward into a more forward trot. Just losing... You can just see there, it's just losing the balance and the irregularity. How are we doing score-wise? Let's have a little look. 57.4.
So it's...
Yeah, those inconsistencies are just showing up in the marks. He looks pretty revved up, but he needs to use that energy in a more forward way. Nice stretch down, though, in the free walk. She can maybe let the rein go a little bit more. Oh, jog as well. That's a shame. See, I said he looked revved.
Yeah.
A bit too revved.
Yes.
He's getting ready for this counter transition. He's anticipating it quite a lot, losing the straightness.
It was almost like his programme. I said, I think I know what I go and I want to do it now, sort of thing.
Yeah, losing the uphill tendency as well. Good bend in the half pass. Good positioning. Let's see how these simple changes go. Just the horse just fighting against the contact. And again, no clear walk shown in between the simple change, but clear transitions. She's gone for it in the extended canter. Just lost it again in that corner.
Yep.
Not quite so clear in this half pass.
Judge is not really taking kindly. So the scores are reflected. So our mark is looking a little on the low side.
Yeah, just a little bit flat, losing the uphill tendency in the canter. Let's see if she can keep the straightness down the centre line as she comes into her halt rein back. Oh, the horse really disapproving in the contact.
Oh.
Not happy at all.
All over the shot there.
Yeah, that's...
I think that's
come
costly.
on, mate. Oh, dear.
He's not a happy bunny at the end of the...
She's got it back, though.
Yeah.
That's the experience that Lee's got.
Well, might feel a little bit dispiriting. And I think the puff of the cheeks tells you all that that was hard
work.
It was, but... well,
He didn't do her any favours in the end there, did he?
Rain back 2.4, I think that told you
Yeah.
that. I mean, it was all over the shot. But the horse just never settled, and it made it very hard work for the Frawley from the US Virgin Islands, but as Natasha was saying, spends most of her time back in Britain. And, well, 2 more to go, but it's Sophie Wells sitting in, who was first to go, producing the best score of the day. And looks as if it is enough to give her a gold medal with a score of 75.429. Frank Hosmar 73.31, and then in third Regine Mispelkamp 71.452. So scoring is perhaps at the moment a slightly more predictable class than the other two, which were certainly full of, and you never quite knew what was going. Well, you never quite knew what was going to happen. And the grade 4 was terrific, and obviously with the Brazilian rider coming in with a wonderful test, a sort of surprise package. That was Rodolfo Riscali getting that silver medal behind Sanne Werts was a wonderful test. And then Suzanne Jensby Sunderson, who was last to go, deprived Manon Claes of a bronze. That was unpredictable. And then obviously the very popular Stinner winning gold, but again the Lee Pearson retiring and the other little
it's all happened today.
Whereas you actually say that you've got to admire the quality of Sophie Wells's dressage test.
Yeah.
That is thoroughly deserving of putting her with a comfortable winning margin at the moment. And with Ahmed Sharbatly talking of who's the partner, I believe, of Manon Claes.
Yes.
So
yeah.
Maybe he was, and just to confirm that Lee Frawley was always going to have problems. We've had the yin and the yang of scores. So we've had 54.071 is the score. And the standings, just to confirm where they are at the moment, with 2 to go, there is Sophie Wells on 75.429, sitting in that gold medal winning position, looking to give Great Britain their first Para-Dressage medal of the week, but their 3rd overall at these FEI World Equestrian Games. And it is now from Saudi Arabia, Ahmed Sharbatly coming in to this Tryon Stadium with the penultimate rider of this opening day of competition. And tomorrow we'll be back at 9:25 in the warm-up. Watch
my turn.
To your test. Will you? Now, are you a good sleeper a night before something like this?
Normally, yeah.
Right, I know, but you're good. I just don't know. What are you nervous? I mean, what will you be like?
I don't know. Ask my team. No, I'm normally very chilled. I'm a laid-back person, and you know what? Heading into this games, I'm still on a relatively unknown horse, so you know I'm just going to see how it goes tomorrow and do my best.
Well, Ahmed Sharbatly and Cassandra, the 11-year-old, are on their way. And again, the scores indicate, well, about 5.8. But I tell you what, the worst I think we've seen the opening salvo came from Sophie Wells, who opened up with a 4.6, if I remember rightly, on the opening haul. But otherwise,
I'm still in the lead, even with that.
Nailed the rest and produced a couple of 8s along the way, and the only rider, I think, who's done that today. And so Ahmed, though, is now doing all right. A 7 for that extended trot, and although he's just produced a half pass that wasn't so hot.
No, the half pass wasn't so hot, unfortunately. It was a little bit, all over the place. He just lost the quarters and then wasn't on the centre line for the finish for the start of the 8-metre circle, and that's what I mean about finishing the movement before you can start the next one, because he wasn't on the centre line. It then affected his 8-metre circle mark.
And of course, this is the individual competition. The team competition takes place over the Thursday and Friday.
Yeah.
And some of these riders won't be competing in that.
Nope.
And obviously then, and if they've qualified, well, all these riders will qualify for the freestyle, so they will, but that doesn't take place
Will
until
they?
8.
I thought it was 7.
No, we were told 8.
Okay.
Well, that's what I've been told. Anyway.
Who knows?
Well, we think it's 8. So.
And then we go into another medium trot. He can hopefully pick up a few more marks from this. Nice steps. Keeping the fluency right the way through, and he's sitting on 62.429%.
Which would move him into 5th spot.
Better half pass this way. Much better positioning. Now hit the centre line. That's better. Much better this way. And then finish the circle and into shoulder in. I'd like to see a little bit more angle. It's just a little bit bendy that way and not enough. When you see the shoulder in, you want the horse's legs on 3 tracks, and they weren't quite then. He was just showing neck bend rather than actual shoulder in. Horse losing a bit of attention in the walk. Much better in the free walk though. I'd like to see the horse stretch down a little bit rather than looking up and seeing what's around it. Lovely transition. Getting ready for the half pass around the corner. And off he goes. Again, just struggling to keep the quarters there, but nice and straight on the centre line. Couple of steps of trot before he walks, and unfortunately he went off on the wrong leg. There we go, he's corrected it. That will be quite expensive though, unfortunately. Sitting on 63.65.2 for the half pass to the left. As I said, just losing those quarters into it, which affected him, 3.8 for the simple change. Let's see if he can do it better this way. Yep, starting off well. Yeah, much better this way. That might be a disability weakness, because both half passes have been a lot better that way. Falling out a little bit through its right shoulder, but much better transitions that time. Yeah, 6.7 for that second half pass. So much better than the first one, and 6.4, nearly double what he got on the last simple change. Let's hope he can keep the straightness down his final centre line.
Oh, that's this halt. Oh, wobbly
that's
at the
so
back.
hard. Such a hard movement.
And now to the final halt. Our penultimate rider.
Nice and straight.
Ahmed Sharbatly completes with Cassandra, and he's happy. And sometimes there is a sense of relief, and but I think
he's really happy with that.
And why not? So, and he's got plenty of supporters too. And I'm sure you can see the in the area just to the entrance underneath the tunnel and the big scoreboard where the 2 warm-up areas are, and then away.
I think he's keen to get out, isn't he?
The horse is definitely ears pricked coming out of the arena, but there he goes. Job done, and back on Saturday.
Back on Saturday for the freestyle.
Yep, with Cassandra. And one more rider to go. Have we got any likely change to the medal scenario, which stands with Sophie Wells, Frank Hosmar and Regine Mispelkamp in the gold, silver and bronze position at the moment? And The score will come through shortly of our 7th rider, but now Cisco Vermeulen from Belgium is into the arena. There she is on the 16-year-old gelding, Romeo, and coming in nicely to the arena. Can you see this being a change?
It could well be. I mean, I don't really know Regine very well, but she did a really, really nice test. So
well, we can
anything's possible.
Well, let's just confirm the scenario of where we are with the score with Ahmed Sharbatly, because he has scored 62.952.
Big difference in the scores.
We've gone from a 59 to a 66 at B. B was Mark Urban from Belgium. Now, of course, Manon Claes is from Belgium. No, we're being deliberately provocative there, absolutely. But
Rupert, you naughty boy.
Your angle. Sometimes it's all about, you know, perceptions and angles.
And tests can look very different from different angles.
And that's why they then sort of marry.
That's why they have 5 judges.
Yeah, and they can be, so it alleviates the sudden sort of slight disparity, and that's why you can get a much more even score, and that's why it's leveled out at 62.952 for Ahmed Sharbatly. Right now, final rider on this first day, coming into the arena. Been a really intriguing and enjoyable day's para-dressage, which I hope you've enjoyed here, wherever you've been watching, and seeing some high-quality para-dressage rider. But have we got a little bit of a twist as far as the medals are concerned, with the Belgian rider coming in, and she's off and running, Cisco Vermeulen.
Really good start there, nice and straight on centre line, not throwing any marks away. Yeah, into rank 1, 7.3, 73% for that first centre line, really smart. This horse not quite as expressive as Regine, so we'll see how that fares, but she's very, very correct. So, and Cisco is very experienced, so she knows how to put a test together. Good half-pass positioning and a lovely 8-metre circle, losing a little bit of the rhythm to begin with. Better shoulder in, didn't quite get the angle straight away, but managed to get it after a few steps. We're sitting on 69.1% at the moment, so...
and that's what she scored when finishing 3rd in Stade Para in May. So in the individual freestyle, 74.
Nice pirouette. See how she gets on with this next one.
Feels she's a sort of 70%er, so therefore she's probably going to have to come up with something a little special.
Yeah.
But she's not far away on what this horse has produced before, but at the moment just...
Better pirouette that way, kept the activity behind. Could have been a little bit more active, but it was, the steps were consistent.
Looks as if 4th place is where it's going to be, judging by the early start, but still a lot of time to up the ante.
She's up to rank 4, so she's just in front of Tomoko from Japan at the moment. Yeah, this horse just not quite as expressive as the German horse we saw earlier, but she's doing a good job of putting it together. I'd like to see a little bit better positioning in the half pass there. Just looked a little bit stiff. I mean, the horse is a bit older at 16, so she's going to have to work a little bit harder on the suppleness. And again, she only just got the positioning there in the shoulder and down the centre line. Again, a very hard movement to ride. There's nowhere to hide when you do anything on the centre line. Nice walk steps.
All looking just sub 70 at the moment for an overall score.
Like to see that nose just go out a little bit more, but nice stretching down.
How's your phone going with messages about Sophie. Normally been going 10 to the dozen.
Yeah, I've got a few.
Okay, good. Well, it'll be a morale-boosting moment after the surprise factor with Lee Pearson, which certainly rocked Natasha to my right here. But for Cisco, it looks as if it could be heading to another Belgian 4th place. Puts them in the, when it comes to the team, the consistency of team performance is what matters, and across the various grades. And clearly they must be looking at perhaps being in the team picture come Friday evening.
Lovely medium trot down that long side there. She really went for that. She kept the straightness. Let's see how this half pass goes. Good positioning at the start. Yeah, nice. Pretty good transition down. And great back up into the canter. I have just got a message from my old teammate Ricky Bowshaw. Give me a shout out, Tash. I'm listening, love you.
There you go.
There you go, Ricky. I hope you're happy.
When was he last your teammate?
He was my teammate back at the last World Games in France.
No.
And we miss you, Ricky.
Well,
good rain back.
Yes, it's
pretty
ended,
straight.
I think it's ended well.
Yep.
This test, and for
lovely straight centre line.
And there, Cisco Vermeulen ends the day's activity. I'm not sure it's going to give her a bronze medal, but I'm sure, and the way her reaction is, that her and Romeo have delivered a very satisfactory test, and she looks pleased as she comes out of the arena. To end, we await on her score, but it basically has ended with another gold medal for Great Britain in para-dressage, and Sophie Wells is going to be that recipient when they have the medal ceremony shortly. But just what the doctor ordered from the British perspective, always the target country when it comes to para-dressage, given their consistent reputation and never having lost the team competition. But this...
Thanks, Rupert.
No, I'm just saying,
no pressure.
Saying as it is, and obviously with the Lee Pearson factor, it's adding an extra dimension as they're going to be preparing the arena for the medal ceremony shortly. But we just await the final score and see exactly what it does. With Sophie Wells on 75.429, and full credit to her, the 28-year-old British rider, producing the best score of the day. Yeah. You can't ask for more than that. Go out and produce the best test, and it was, I think, the only score to produce some 8s, which is a worthy reflection on her score. So I can tell you that Cisco Vermeulen scored 69.167, and there puts her in 4th. It just never found that little extra, pretty consistent marking from the judges across all. One in the 70s, that was the judge at S. But the final leaderboard, confirming our 3rd gold medalist of the day, is Sophie Wells, and being cheered in the background by Natasha Baker on Fatal Attraction, 75.429. Frank Hosmar from the Netherlands couldn't add to their gold medal earlier in the day, but another gold medal for the team. They must be one of the leading contenders, and clearly are, for the team gold, 73.167. And then from Germany, look at me now, the horse, but it was Regine Mispelkamp who is the bronze medalist. Well, that's it for the time being. We'll be back for the 2 medal ceremonies shortly, but many congratulations to Sophie Wells. The arena is being prepared for those medal ceremonies, where we will see not only Sophie pick up her medal, but I'm sure it will be a beaming Stina Kastrup who will come into the arena to pick up her gold medal. We're going to take a short break, but we'll be back in a few moments for those medal ceremonies here in Tryon.
I would like to say congratulations to all para-dressage competitors qualifying for the FEI World Championship Trial 2018. And we are
Well, time now for the medal ceremonies after an absorbing afternoon sport here in the Tryon Stadium. And the first medal ceremony will be for the Grade 2. And there you can see the 3 medalists coming in, leading them, the smiling figure of the Danish rider, Stine Tange Kastrup. What a moment for her, and I know Natasha Baker alongside me will be enjoying this moment along with her. Great friends you are with her, but this will mean an awful lot to her as she makes her way across the arena. Following her is Beppo Puig, and then in the bronze medal position, Nicole Den Dulk coming along, making their way across to the presentation area. Pedro alongside, as he often is, always very colourfully dressed and always adding a certain eccentricity to the occasion, but a very popular character, but leading them towards, and there is Stine making her way towards the rostrum, and the Austrian Beppo Puig next door, of course, to Stine. And the presentation party has gathered in the arena, and the horses coming out as well. There is our gold medalist. What a very special moment for her, Natasha.
Yeah, incredibly special for Stine. She's such a wonderful young girl, and you know, she's just got a heart of gold, and she genuinely loves her horse so much. She will be so proud of this moment.
Well, there you can see lining up, making their way to the podium there, the splendid scoreboard and surrounding the arena. But coming forward for Denmark, they have certainly begun to announce themselves, and they're a fearsome combination. But now the first up, though, the bronze medalist coming forward, and that is Nicole Den Dulk coming forward, waving to her supporters, her horse in the background, Wallace. They've scored 70.735. Now in second spot. He's quite often used to winning gold medals, but he's got a new horse in Sailor's Blue, and I think he will be thinking this is exciting, because he's coming forward, Beppo Puig in second, and how pleased does he look, the Austrian. But the gold medalist, one of the most popular athletes across all disciplines, there's no two ways about it, but from Denmark it is Stine Tange Kastrup coming forward, and their tears, I think that tells you what it means to her.
And we welcome forward to present the medal, Sabrina Ivan.
So the presentation party coming forward to present the medals here this afternoon, and Sabrina Ibanez, the Secretary General and President of Association of Paralympic Sports Organisations, presenting the medals, and now just waiting. There is Erin Alford on hand, and I tell you what, Stine and Natasha can't wait to get her hands on the gold medal.
I don't think there's anybody with a wider smile than Stine right now. She's looking so emotional, and yeah, she just so deserves this.
Welcome.
They're all such good friends as well, and it's so nice to see the camaraderie between them, even though they're competitors, and you know, they all want to be in that top spot, but they all get on so well.
Well, Sharon Decker, Chief Operating Officer of the Organising Committee, and Alan Mann, Director Strategic Partnerships at Equestrian, also on hand to congratulate the athletes and riders, and Stine being given prolific congratulations, and Alan coming forward with the bouquet, giving Stine a huge hug as they get ready now for the national anthems. And I'm sure, I don't think she's going to be able to hold back the
Stepping
tears.
forward,
She's crying already.
She's gone.
I've got a lump in my throat just watching her.
Well, there's a lot of hard work and effort And there coming forward is Juan Carlos Capelli, Vice President and Head of International Marketing, a familiar figure on the equestrian circuit of presenting awards, and the winners receiving a Longines watch as well, and just to, as they give to all the medalists here at the games. So a big moment, and Juan Carlos just having his photograph taken with the victorious Grade 2 champion, the very popular Stina Tanga Castro. Now just putting her watch down.
Ladies and gentlemen,
here we get ready.
National anthem of the gold medal winner, national anthem of Denmark.
And now time for the gold medal. Well, she was fighting back the tears. The lip was wobbling. I think Natasha wasn't there.
It was. She's so emotional. It's just so beautiful to see.
Well, she is without question one of the faces of the sport, and there is that mascara.
I think she's got a bit of mascara to tidy up there, hasn't she? She might need some new gloves for the next competition day.
Right, well, of course, she'll be looking to add to that medal in the team competition and the freestyle, and it is a hard-fought Grade 2 competition. She's still just applauding the horses as they now leave the arena, and so many tears, and well, that I tell you what, that mascara is taking a pound.
It is. I don't think she can quite believe it herself.
Well, the all having their photograph taken.
Lovely picture.
Lovely. Smiles of real joy from amongst all three, and Natasha's absolutely right. The camaraderie between all these athletes is immense, because they all know everyone in their own way has had to fight their own personal battles, but
so as I'm
just coming to the end of this particular medal ceremony.
Organising them.
Pedro, and then we'll be ready for the gold medal presentation to the Grade 5. Those athletes are already in the arena. Of course, the once again, more photographs. There's going to be a photograph of the three of them close together. Now they've come off the podium to celebrate the moment of winning a medal at the World Equestrian Games. That gold medal looks a very treasured possession.
Yeah, they've changed the medals this year as well. The old medals had multicoloured, I don't know, what do you call it? Ribbons. Yeah, and the actual face of the medal has changed as well, so it's quite nice to have a new one in the medal cabinet.
Wonder who just wants one. Right, well,
I want one. I'm not scared to say it.
Now what you've seen happening to your friend. Now the horses coming into the arena are the horses who have been competing in the Grade 5 and won by Sophie Wells with Fatal Attraction. Also in second spot, Frank Hosmar and Alphaville, and the third place rider from Germany, Regine Mispelkamp. And there they are, ready to receive their medal. Sophie Wells in the center, and has won many gold medals, and again Frank having a wave around to some of his supporters. There's always plenty of Dutch supporters. See the Union Jack flag is ready to be raised. But now time for the bronze medal to be handed out. And stepping forward from Germany is Regine Mispelkamp. And big moment for her too. It was a good test too, with a score of 71.50. Well, on paper, Frank Hosmar looked to be the main challenger to the gold medalist. He was, and he's produced his test that sees him finish in the silver medal position. But now making way to come forward, Sophie Wells of Great Britain steps forward to win another para-equestrian gold medal, and a third for Great Britain on the week. They are the leading team in terms of medals. There is the flag, and Natasha, big moment and a confidence-boosting moment for the team to get an early gold medal.
Definitely, yeah. I think there's going to be a good spirit in the camp tonight, but obviously there's still Erin and I left to compete tomorrow, and then the team will be decided on the 2 following days after that.
Well, Erin was in that group of riders that you saw there. Will be competing in the Grade 3. She will be last to go tomorrow. Natasha is first to go when we start in the morning. There is Erin to the right of the picture, standing with other members of the GB Supporters Club.
Yes.
Any friends? Well, you know them all.
That's the biggest smile I've seen on Sophie's face all week.
Well, there's a lot of tension, a lot of expectation as well. It's not easy when you are expected to be the golden girl, and yet she has done exactly that. And other members now coming forward to, once again, this time Sharon Decker and Alan Mann coming forward to offer their congratulations, and no doubt a bouquet of flowers once again to be handed over by Alan Mann of Adican to the gold medalist Sophie Wells. And now stepping forward, this time it will be the watches now, Stephanie Lockhart, who's head of international PR Longines and heritage manager for Longines as well. It's her turn to do the honours in terms of presenting the watches to the 3 medalists. First to Regine, then to Frank, and now it's the turn of Sophie to receive this prized Longines watch, beautifully encased in the case, and Stephanie hands it over before we now will hear the national anthem as a quick photograph. But for the 3rd time this week, the national anthem of Great Britain will be heard in the Tryon Equestrian Centre, but for the first time here in the Tryon Stadium, as the athletes turn round to face the big screen, and here we hear the national anthem of Great Britain. And Sophie looking as if Natasha, she's trying to keep it back there, but looking very emotional. There's a lot of work, a lot of hard times, and obviously with the disappointment of Lee Pearson, and always pressure on the British team when it comes to these para-dressage, because they are expected to deliver, but it's always good when they do. And here are the photographs of the 3 medalists. So Natasha, our job is nearly done here. Sleep well, good luck, 9:30, kick off. You want to be...
I want to be in that middle spot.
Won't be easy though tomorrow.
It won't be easy. I've got a lot of my class that have got the potential to be in any of those spots on the podium, so I'll just be grateful for a good test.
Well, best of luck tomorrow, but and obviously and to Erin as well from a British perspective, but there will be so many others trying to win that gold medal. Looks a very tough class. That will be and also the Grade 1 tomorrow, which again will be another fiercely fought competition. So we're in for a really intriguing day. But day 1 of the Para-Dressage has come to an end. Natasha, thank you for your company. And as we see the end of the competition, that's it. Sophie Wells is our final gold medalist of the day with Frank Hosmar. And it has been a terrific day. Wonderful sport, hard-fought sport, just what you want for day 1 of the Para-Dressage. Do join us tomorrow at 9:30 for the start of day 2 of the Para-Dressage here in Tryon.
Horses, we will mount up, ready for the lap of honor. Let's cheer on.